I gotta admit, I really do love the people that say, you don't work for WWE, you don't know the backstage environment. Yeah, we don't, but you see, there are people that do, and their job is to tell the people that don't what the environment's like. Is every source credible? Of course not. But you know there's a few that are. We got news today on WWE's booking mentality. We know it's not very smart if you've ever watched the product in the last 3 years. WWE SummerSlam, 2 weeks out, and they still do not have a location, but there are rumors that with Governor Murphy expanding the outdoor capacity to 500, that they could potentially be going to the beach of Atlantic City. Last but not least, I shook the hands of Marty Jannetty years back at an independent wrestling show. Little did I know that he could have potentially have been a murderer. There is a story to this, however, and I ask that you listen to that story. Again, I don't justify it. We're going to talk about these 3 topics, wrestling exclusive. Hit the like button, subscribe. Go nowhere else. What I want to talk about is, on paper, leaps and bounds the most important. That's Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty reportedly claimed unofficially in a Facebook post, excuse me, let me fix this camera here. He claimed unofficially in a Facebook post that he had murdered a man. Now, he didn't physically state that he murdered him, but he said he made a man disappear, which for those of you that don't know is another way of saying that you murdered someone. However, in this article it claims that he was almost raped at the age of 13. He was taken into an alleyway and defended himself with a brick and said that he was scared, and it was the first time that he ever made a grown man disappear. There was an interview. He said he acted in self-defense. He repeatedly hit the man in the head with a brick after the man tried to rape him. He explained he was working at Columbus Bowling Alley at the time, and he tried to buy marijuana from the man. I got in the guy's car and he gave me the bag of weed, but he reached over and grabbed me down there. I did not expect, because it was the first day I'd met him. He claimed in the interview he went to leave the car and the man got upset. He jumped out of the car, came around, grabbed Jannetty by his hair. He couldn't get away. He said the man dragged him behind the bowling alley where he attempted to pull his shorts down and assault him. If I couldn't have handled myself, that dude would have raped me. He says when he went to clarify the statement, I probably don't need to say this, but there was a brick laying there. It was the right thing to do in the moment. I didn't know how to handle it. I ain't never tried to be assaulted before. I was scared, I won't lie. In the Facebook post, though, he claimed that after bludgeoning him with the brick, he made his attacker disappear, saying it was the first time he'd ever done such a thing. They never found him. The Facebook account reads, they should have looked in the Chattahoochee River. During his interview with the Wrestling Federation, we can hear him YouTube. He tells Jannetty the man deserved what happened to him. The host tells Jannetty the man deserved what happened to him. I can't say he deserves to be killed, Jannetty offers. I can't say he deserves to die, but he deserved to get his ass beat. And when I was beating him in the head with a brick, I was only trying to beat his ass. I wasn't trying to kill him. When that shit happened to me, that hurt, man, Jannetty explained. I was upset. Dragging him to the river and throwing him in and finding out the news this guy's missing. That affected me. It hurt me and made my mind. And I made my mind up that day no one would ever hurt me again. Jannetty said in the interview, I am not saying he died. No other kids had to worry about him. In addition, he said to the host he's got nothing against gay people. The original Facebook post has been deleted. He said he was inspired to write it following a recent falling out with his girlfriend. People spoke to Columbus Police Department, of course. Investigators are looking to the post. We were shocked at the post and we were taking it very seriously. She told people we jumped right on it. We got in. It's a serious allegation. It is a serious post. He said the case has been assigned to a special victims unit detective who also handles cold cases. Right now we're looking at it as a missing person case, she said. We are trying to reach out to people who have been here during the time frame or know something that someone missing during the time frame to give us some insight. First things first, I think when the post first came out, I didn't actually read the physical post, and I don't know if the post he said that he mentioned in the post that the man had assaulted him or attempted to assault him. The only thing that I saw was the headline of Marty Jannetty unofficially claims he murdered a man by assaulting him. And if it was written in the post, shame on the news outlets for saying that Jannetty murdered someone, but refused to acknowledge the fact that he was in the process of being assaulted. Okay? You know, this is one of those situations. You never try to justify somebody killing somebody, but you have to look at it in his situation. I'm not justifying it. And I'm not going to talk too much about this topic because it's not really a topic where I've been in a situation, knock on wood, where I can say what I would do or what anybody else would do. But personally for me, I understand where Jannetty's coming from. Again, never been in the situation, and if any of you watching this have, I'm so sorry that you have. Janetti did what he thought was right. Whether you think it's right or not, that's your decision. When he said that he can't do this to kids anymore, that's a very valid point. And again, I don't justify it, but you have to look at it from the standpoint of, if Janetti murdered this man, and he's looking at it from the standpoint of these people don't have to worry about him anymore. Who knows if this man, I'm going to keep saying it because I don't want anybody to rearrange words from my mouth and say that I said rape or murder was okay. It's not. But what I'm saying is, if he's saying it from the standpoint of that he can't do this anymore, what if this guy had assaulted dozens of children? We don't know that. But we also don't know that he's dead. But I'm assuming if nobody's heard or seen anything from him, and this is some 20, 30 years ago, I don't think he is alive. But it would be hard, at least there's usually one person at least that is watching somebody or close contact with them to know where is he. For all we know, this guy could still be alive. Only Janetti knows how bad the damage was. If he damaged him that bad and threw him in a river, I don't think he would be alive. But again, we don't know. So we'll see what happens from the Janetti situation. But I just kind of wanted to bring that up here. And we're going to talk about, is WWE heading to Atlantic City, New Jersey, something more of a bright spot out. 2 weeks out from SummerSlam. We're getting shows and certain things that just really don't make sense. And we're getting a SummerSlam show that could be in this location, could be in Orlando, could be at the PC, could be at an Orlando Beach, could be in Atlantic City. WWE has no idea right now where their SummerSlam show is going to be, and we are... Let me see this. Not this Sunday. Not next Sunday. Or it is next Sunday. Wait. Yes, SummerSlam is 2 weeks away, and they have no idea where the show is. Which leads me to believe that they probably haven't filmed much of it, if any. We're at a point now where WWE should be live. The cinematic matches, I understand. Pre-recording those, especially the Edge and Orton match, because obviously you had the Edge injury. Not only the Edge injury, but you wanted to make it great. You wanted the crowd to pipe in. And yeah, that match was great. But we don't know. Now, I do live in New Jersey, so I can give you a little bit of insight on this. New Jersey has been doing much better with the coronavirus, at least in recent memory, than New York and New Jersey were some of the hardest hit states at the beginning of the virus. But we shut down so quickly that now that we're Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, you have to give him credit where it's due, shut down the state and has been very reluctant to open things up. And again, that's one of those things where people may hate him for it, but you have to look at it. New Jersey, knock on wood, is in pretty good shape right now in terms of that. So what does that mean? Murphy recently, from what I'm told, upped his outing of people that are allowed outdoors in outdoor gatherings from 125 to 500. And you don't think it is, but when you're used to having no crowds, having 500 people in a designated location will make a huge difference. It is outdoors. Now, what does that mean? Well, Atlantic City is a hot spot in New Jersey for a lot of people to travel. The beach, obviously. SummerSlam could be filmed in Atlantic City. Would Vince McMahon have the ability to shut down the beach for the night of Sunday, August 22nd or whatever it is, and film there with 500 members as audience? That to me would be really cool, but obviously people have said there's other locations. This is from bleedingcool.com. It says, we've known for months there's no way WWE would be allowed to hold SummerSlam at the TD Garden in Boston, but WWE only recently came to grips with it, announcing a couple of weeks ago that they would seek a new location. That location would seemingly be at WWE's facilities in Florida, where every show has taken place since the pandemic started. But Vince McMahon is apparently getting bored with that and hoping for a change of scenery. I don't blame him. With the indoor arenas probably not coming back for the rest of the year, if you want me to be honest with you. You can kind of understand that. Dave Meltzer. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, McMahon is eyeing Atlantic City, New Jersey, as the location for the biggest pro wrestling event of the summer. In addition to the change of scenery, he's hoping that fans can attend SummerSlam, though that could be difficult in New Jersey, where some coronavirus cases are back up on the rise. New Jersey doesn't want anyone from Florida coming to the state without quarantining, absolutely. Do not bring your Florida people, not all of them, some Florida people who have had no regard for the virus. You were out on the beach in April and May, and now you are the hardest hit state in the United States. Do not bring those people. Do not let them come here. Because now, we don't want your virus. We've had it already. New Jersey's, I don't know about everybody, have been a little bit better. We don't want it. Keep it away. Meltzer said McMahon wants to be out of Florida. Give it a different look. He said he really wants fans in attendance. It's unknown whether TakeOver would be part of the move as well. I don't think TakeOver would need to be. If you could get fans at TakeOver, that would be great, but TakeOver could be at the PC. However, there's some logistic hurdles to clear before that would happen, especially with having fans in attendance. As of Monday, state mandates that if the show was indoors, attendance would be limited to the maximum of 25 people. If it was outdoors, it would be 500, but only if social distancing was observed. State Governor Murphy reduced the indoor number to 25 from 100 in the last few days due to an uptick in cases. This is also a question of transporting talent and personnel to the state. Atlantic City has a lot of history. They've held WrestleMania 4 and 5 at Trump's Casino, LOL. So it would make a good spot for SummerSlam. Trump Plaza since it's gone bankrupt, but maybe the president and Hall of Famer could put in a good word for the good friends, the McMahons anyway. So what do you think, New Jerseyans? Would you be willing to risk getting COVID to attend SummerSlam? First off, 500 people, it's going to be very hard to get to that show. If WWE had a show that was in Atlantic City, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to get your season ticket holders, the people that swallow the company whole, are going to travel. They're going to do whatever it takes to get to that show. A lot of these people that haven't been to shows, that are regulars and have ins or whispers within the company, they're going to get to these shows before we do. That's one of the things you got to make mention of. So if you're one of those people that's like, wow, I'm going to SummerSlam, it's not going to happen. 500 people, there's probably 100 off the bat easily, just without thinking that we'll have dibs before you do. That's corporate, that's season ticket holders, people that have ins and outs, the regulars. Would I risk getting COVID to attend SummerSlam? If it's outdoors, I'm not going to any indoor event. Would I risk? If the opportunity was there and the tickets were not expensive, I would go, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't be. What's the word for it? It would be difficult. Socially distancing 500 people, that is a lot of beach. Will they make a decision soon? I would hope that they have a decision by sometime next week. Because if they do not have a decision by sometime next week, you're going dead-eye into a show and you have no idea where it's located. So that's the first problem. They cannot have that. Would it come to Atlantic City? Would I go? Yeah, but I don't think I need to go to that show. Again, I don't think you would need to, because the 500 people mandate, all the people that are going to get in are the people that are corporate and the people that are ahead and have the ins and outs. Speaking of one last thing, backstage update on WWE's new booking mentality, out with the new and in with the old. Well, I would like to hope so. If anybody's been watching wrestling over the last couple of years, you know how terrible the show has been. Right now, there are a couple of feuds going, but in general, for the last 4 or 5 years, this company has constantly gotten worse. Vince McMahon has no idea what he's doing. There's people within his company that are writing for him, and he's turning them down. He's exhausted. The COVID, as you know, I don't like the people that sit here and say, well, COVID's the reason why. No. This show's ratings, the show was not good long before this pandemic hit, so I don't really appreciate that as an excuse. Vince McMahon is currently looking to WWE's most prosperous period in order to stimulate growth. Obviously, times are desperate right now. Some of the ratings aren't coming in. Dave Meltzer spoke on the matter during the most recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio. Meltzer stated that WWE's current mentality is focused on trying to emulate what worked for the company in the 90s and applied on Raw and SmackDown. Hence some recent changes to the mainland product. Said changes were apparent on this week's episode of Raw between Shane McMahon, Raw Underground, and the Chaos Stable. WWE attempted to capture a grittier, edgier feel in a product that many feel has become too safe and sanitized. That results in an increase of approximately 100,000 viewers on the previous week. Meltzer also claimed Raw's writing process saw Vince and the rest of his crew throw a bunch of different ideas to the wall to see what would stick. And what we mean by that is that they literally took ideas and threw them against the wall. It is very clear. You know, I think I can go on all day about this, but part of the problem is that the people that are in creative are either A, getting shot down, or B, don't belong in creative. You can't put somebody that has worked in some corporate business and tell them to write wrestling if they don't understand the art form of wrestling. You need people that are young, that are very knowledgeable on the product, know what the fans want, and that's exactly where someone like Triple H prospers, because Triple H knows exactly what the company is. He knows exactly where it needs to go, and the fact that he doesn't have as much power that he should have is kind of a shame. You know, these writers get shot down. They write television that's not funny. It doesn't make sense. The feuds don't make sense. Now, again, I give them, you know, I scratch a little bit of credit off because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but that doesn't change the fact that should give you an option to be even more creative. The things they did with Cena and Bray Wyatt, the things they did with the Boneyard match with Undertaker and AJ Styles, those are the type of things that you have to capitalize on. You don't have an audience. I understand that a lot of the world is on lockdown mode, but you have people, and you have done things in the past, hence the Attitude Era, competing with WCW, okay? Why was WWF successful? Successful because they brought out of the box ideas. It was grittier, it's edgier. Will WWE be T14 now? No, because they're so, you know, if Vince McMahon has to really be at ground zero, or he has to be at rock bottom for us to get that grittier product. The underground concept, you know, a lot of people crapped on it. It's sad to me because a lot of the people that are there, they're there because WWE has nothing for them on television, and that's the sad part. Someone like Dolph Ziggler does not belong on a segment like that. Yeah, the Hurt Business, all that's great, but you know, I don't really see what it does. That's my problem, is I'm not seeing, you know, in 100,000 viewers, yeah, that's good, but are those 100,000 viewers going to come back next week to watch it again? And how long before it becomes stale? Vince McMahon, we know who he is, we know how he acts. The company doesn't change until he steps down or, unfortunately, God forbid, passes away. There's no, what about this, what about, none of that. Until he makes the decision to step down, which he will never do. There were rumors entertained that he was going to sell the product during the beginning of the pandemic. I actually thought legitimately for a minute, with him releasing all the talent, that he was going to have no choice, but there's no way. He was going to get rid of the XFL, which The Rock saved, by the way. Shout out to Dwayne Johnson for purchasing the XFL. There was no way he was going to sell the WWE unless he absolutely had to. The booking decisions are going to continue to not make sense. You know, if there's any time for WWE to bring out this Attitude Era like scenery, now's the time. What is there to lose? You've lost the rest. You're not making the money you were making. I mean, yeah, the company's making money, but they're not getting ratings. The ratings are terrible. The creative's terrible. There's no fans. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to make that decision? Nobody knows. But I'll tell you what I do know. Grateful for everybody that watched this. Hit the like button, subscribe. As always, continue to stay safe.